The Sloppy Okapi, written by Keith Bosco, illustrated by Taylor Patterson, and narrated by Cheryl Najafi. Some things in life come naturally. Other things we need to work on. Charlie needed to work on being neat. You see, he was a very sloppy Okapi. "Mom, have you seen my detective badge?" Charlie yelled from the staircase. "Sorry, Charlie," his mom replied. "I haven't seen it. It's probably somewhere in your messy room." Charlie was too busy to clean his room. He had mysteries to solve. Charlie's dream had always been to be a detective, but he wouldn't be much of a detective without his badge. Where did I put that badge? Charlie asked himself. He searched and he searched until he couldn't search anymore, and eventually he fell asleep on a pile of clothes he left on the floor in the middle of his room. The next day, his desire to be a detective was stronger than before. "I guess I will have to go without my badge," he thought to himself. "Oh well, at least I have my hat. Oh, no! Where did I put my detective hat?" Charlie yelled. He looked high and low, but he couldn't find it anywhere. "Mom, have you seen my detective hat?" Charlie asked frantically. "Sorry, Charlie," she replied. "If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. You need to put your things away. You would know where your hat was if you would quit being so sloppy." "I know. I'll ask Derek if I can borrow his hat." Charlie dashed out of his house in a panic, running as fast as he could to Derek the cheetah's house. He arrived out of breath. "Derek," he panted, "may I borrow your detective hat, please?" "Sorry, Charlie," Derek answered. "Every time I let you borrow something of mine, you lose it. I don't want you to lose my detective hat, too. Besides, what kind of a detective are you anyway if you can't even find your own hat?" Charlie stopped for a moment. He thought about what Derek had said. Charlie thought, maybe I should have put my hat on my shelf. But that moment passed quickly. Charlie ran back home. "I may not have my badge or my hat, but at least I have my magnifying glass," he said, relieved. His magnifying glass was his most prized possession, so Charlie ran up to his room to grab his magnifying glass. He looked, and he looked, and he looked some more. "Where can it be?" he cried. "It has to be here somewhere. Mom, have you seen my..." Charlie stopped himself. He knew what his mom would say. He could hear her voice inside his head saying, "Sorry, Charlie. If you were not so sloppy, then you would not have lost your magnifying glass. You need to take good care of your things." "I know. I'll ask Derek if I can borrow his," Charlie said as he ran out the door. Then he stopped himself again. He knew what Derek would say. "Sorry, Charlie. What kind of a detective can't even find his own magnifying glass?" "Maybe Derek is right," Charlie said. "Maybe I'm not much of a detective after all. I can't find my badge. I can't find my hat. I can't find my magnifying glass. If only I was not so sloppy, I would know where everything is if I just put all my stuff away. I guess I'll never be a good detective." Charlie sat down on a nearby bench and started to cry. Just then a toucan flew by. He turned around and landed on a bench next to Charlie. The toucan was old and wise. "What's wrong?" the toucan asked. Charlie looked up. "Well, nothing," he said, sniffling. The toucan ruffled his feathers and settled in. "Tell me," he said. Charlie felt compelled to open up to the toucan. "I want to be a detective, but I lost my badge, my hat, and my magnifying glass. I'll never be a good detective. I'm just too sloppy." The toucan was silent for a moment. Then he spoke up. "Well, it sounds like you are one sloppy Okapi," the toucan exclaimed. But the real question is that who you really are? Charlie was puzzled. The way I see it, the toucan continued, you have two options. You can either give up on your dreams and continue to be a sloppy Okapi, or you can rise up, clean up, and be the detective you've always wanted to be. It's really that simple. Remember this, the toucan added. Sloppy is something you choose to do. It is not who you are. Charlie stared intently at the toucan. The toucan winked and flew away. Charlie sat there and pondered on the toucan's words. Then a light bulb went off in his mind, and Charlie knew exactly what he needed to do. Charlie ran home as fast as he could and went straight to his room. He didn't come out at all that night. The next day, when Charlie came downstairs, he was wearing his badge, his hat, and was holding his magnifying glass firmly in his hoof. Neatness really does count, he said. Now I'm ready.